Okay, good evening, everyone. How are you all? Fine. How are you?
Fine, sir.
Okay, good. Shall we start?
Sure, sir. Fine, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, wish you Happy New Year, by the way. Okay, though we are late.
Thank you, sir. Wish you the same.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's start. In the last session, I think maybe we discussed many things, isn't it? Okay, anyway, in this session, we are going to talk about three important sessions that you should cover for your CBT exam, okay, which is gonna be held on 17th of this month. 17th of this month. Okay, anyway, then I will discuss with you the structure of the paper, and also I will upload one model paper into OULMS. OULMS. Okay, this is the second session, the history of youth development work. History of youth development work. Okay, the history. Before we study anything, actually we should know the history of that particular matter. Okay, even if you are studying a single word, you should know the history behind or origin of that particular word. Similar to that, since we are talking about youth development work, we should know when this work was started. Okay, who originated? Okay, how this youth development work evolved. Okay, let's think. Let's discuss. First of all, when you learn this particular session, after learning, okay, these are the some outcomes that we expect from the students. The first, you should be able to explain the evolution of the youth development work in the world. Okay, in this history, then we don't talk about what the history of Sri Lanka. Rather, we will discuss the history of all the world history. Okay, the second important thing, once you learn this session, then you should be able to describe some of the major events that influenced youth development work globally. Okay, major events that influenced. Okay, we will discuss that one. The third important thing, you should be able to describe the main international traditions of youth development work. Okay, here then we will see what are the traditions that we follow, which were followed by our ancestors. Okay. Then the last one should be able to reflect on the impact of youth development work on young people in your country. In your country here means in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka. Okay, then once you finish this lesson or session, okay, you should be able to understand then how then the youth development work, okay, has evolved. Okay, then you should be able to describe the major events such as industrial revolution, okay, modernization or globalization, all these matters. Okay, then we will try to relate them to our context. Okay. Okay, youth development work in a global context. We are talking about that. Okay, just use this session to reflect two important things. The first one, development of youth work in your country, which means in Sri Lanka, and its socio-economic impact on youth. Okay, just we will try to relate those history with Sri Lanka, and we will try to see, okay, its impact or the socio-economic impact on youth. Okay, the second important thing here, once you finish this session, you should be able to conduct research on the different stages of youth development work in Sri Lanka with particular reference to the historical milestones. Okay, you see, then when you see some organization, okay, that has been established, okay, that have been established in Sri Lanka, okay, those organizations have what the some sort of history behind their origin. Okay, then we will try to see what are the organizations operate in Sri Lanka, okay, to work with the young people, or simply what are the youth organizations are there and their history, what they have done, okay, what approach that they are using when they work with young people. Okay, for example, NYSC, National Youth Services Council. Okay, now directly we will come to the session now. Okay, already I mentioned that you should be able to describe the historical events or major events that occurred, okay, in this world. Okay, how it has impacted in the development of youth work. Okay, just we will think about this particular matter, that is industrial revolution. Industrial revolution. Okay, what happened after the industrial revolution? For example, here, the industrial revolution created here was employment was generated in the cities. Okay, then the people in who were in the rural areas or villages started to migrate, move from the villages to cities in finding what? The employment. In finding what? Employment. Okay, simply they gave up their traditional farming and started to work in the factories or industries. Okay, the traditional farmers, now they have become what? The factory workers. Factory workers. Okay. Okay, factory workers. Okay, the cities. Okay, what happened after this? Many people then they started to migrate from rural to urban areas now, or the villages to cities. But the cities were unprepared for the influx of workers, okay? And many of these young men were left without decent work, okay? Though the many people migrated from the rural area to urban areas, but the urban areas were not prepared to handle those people who migrated from the rural areas. And after that, what happened? Okay, due to the influx of workers or massive amount of workers in the cities, okay, many of these, okay, the people who migrated from rural areas left without decent work, which means that they couldn't get proper work in the cities. And more, so became homeless, okay. Once they arrived in the cities, they became homeless and lived in unkept. Okay, no one was there to care them. Okay, overcrowded homes while providing cheap labors. What happened? Okay, anyway, then they have migrated from the rural areas to cities. Okay, then what they did, whatever the employment they got or job they got, okay, they started to work, which created recruiting what the cheap labors. Okay, cheap labors. Okay, even today, then we can see in the cities, okay, then those who have migrated or they moved from the rural areas are staying in, okay, small rooms, okay, small rooms without the proper facilities. Okay, another important thing happened after the Industrial Revolution. The girls were not allowed to leave home. Okay, in that case, then the female didn't migrate from the rural area to cities. Okay, they were kept, okay, inside the home. Okay, in addition to that, they had to face inhuman treatment, discrimination, and exploitation. Okay, these were the common problem people faced, particularly young people. Okay, what we can summarize here, okay, due to this, the major event that occurred in the world, okay, created the opportunities in the cities, okay. Then after that, what happened? The men, okay, or young men migrated from rural to urban areas, not women, okay, female. Okay, you see. Just we will think about and the what were the measures were taken by different countries, what they did in order to overcome these challenges. Okay, here see England. In England, even before the Industrial Revolution, okay, they had to face the similar issues. Church movements, spearheaded, okay, led by the Methodist, conducted Sunday school for young people from working class families. Working class families. Okay, you see, in order to overcome that, okay, who took that role to play here? The churches, which means the religion, which means the religion. What they did? They conducted Sunday school for young people, for young people. Still, we are practicing the Sunday school in Sri Lanka, isn't it? Sunday school system in Sri Lanka. Daham Pasala or Ahadiya. Okay, the Muslims are doing that. Ahad means the Sunday. Ahadiya means the Sunday school. Okay, Australia. What happened in Australia? Okay, similar to what England, the youth work in Australia was started by again the religious organization and philanthropic individuals. Philanthropic individuals. Philanthropic individuals here means and those who work, okay, for the betterment of the people. Okay, usually they provided what the assistance to the vulnerable communities. Vulnerable communities. Okay, see the young Men's Christian Association, YMCA, was established in Australia in 1851. And the Young Women's Christian Association was established in 1872. 1872. Okay, in addition to that, the many pressures, okay, were given to the government to care what the young people. Okay, to fill that gap, the government provided the youth development policies. Youth development policies. Okay, as a country, now they have what they started to work on what the government policies which are related to youth. Okay, you see, then the paid youth workers and formal youth training programs were considered. Now then clearly we can see then how the youth development work has been evolved. Has evolved. Okay, in the New Zealand, the Christian community again, the conducted. Okay, now then clearly we can see then the religion has played a major role, okay, in the development of youth development work or youth work. Conducted other forms of youth work such as, okay, in Australia and the UK. In England, okay, they started what the Sunday school to educate the young people. Okay, in addition to that, New Zealand, okay, they started to work on educational, sports, and also the welfare programs. Why? Social and the recreational benefits of, okay, to fill what gap here? The social and the recreational benefits of young people. Benefits of young people. Okay, they formed the New Zealand National Youth Council to cover the need for leisure and recreational activities. Okay, not only educating the young people, now they have considered or focused on the leisure and recreational activities. Okay, then the NZNYC created the space for social dialogue. When they gathered here, the young people, they started to talk one another, okay, for the first time. Okay, before that, they didn't get the chance to mingle one another, okay, talk about the social matters. Okay, then the detached Young Worker Foundation scheme in 1977 was created. And in 1984, it was expanded as Community Project Workers Scheme. Okay, Community Project Workers Scheme. Okay, you see another important development there. Youth Workers Training Scheme was launched in 1985. 1985, just before 40 years. Okay, United States of America. Okay, then the USA focused more on youth behavior, okay, research. Okay, research on youth behavior. Why? They wanted to identify solution to alleviate some of the issues faced by young people. Okay, for example, juvenile delinquency, racism, unemployment, lack of proper education, health care. Okay, especially among minority youth. Okay, they did the research based on what the minority youths. Okay, focusing on the areas what the challenges faced by the young people. Okay, racism faced by the young people, unemployment issue among the young people, okay, and also the lack of education, even the healthcare issues, even the healthcare issues. Okay, now we can see instead of just providing the program to young people, the USA started to work on what the research, okay, and give the solution. The 21st Century Community Program, which aims to provide a safe and trusting environment for youth, was set up as part of President George Bush's initiative. Okay, this one also is considered as a major development, okay, in the USA and also in the youth development work. In 2001, the US Congress passed the No Child Left Behind Act. Why? Okay, we will come to the next slide now. Okay, as we mentioned earlier, okay, in the previous slides, we discussed the consequences of what? The Industrial Revolution, isn't it? Industrial Revolution. Industrial Revolution. Okay. And the following the Industrial Revolution, the many countries, they started to focus on the youth development work. Youth development work. Okay. It was started in various forms. Okay, the social history of youth development work here means, okay, under this topic, you will look at some of the landmark dates in the history of youth development. For example, what happened in the UK, what happened in the Australia, New Zealand, and the USA. What are the organizations were established in which year? Okay, all these things. Okay, why these dates will be important? Okay, you see, then you continue to analyze youth development work and its impact on, okay, development globally. Okay, when you see those dates, then then the youth development work has been evolved can be easily analyzed, and also its impact on the total development or global development. Okay, and also we can see the origins of the youth work. The fourth important point here is the role played by the churches, okay, and government and the other organizations. Please try to learn more about what the role of what the religion in the development of the youth development work. Okay, there will be one question on that in your CBT. Okay, and also the issues that young people confronted. Okay, if I ask one question related to the social history of youth development work, you should be able to mention the major what? The landmarks or landmark dates in the history of youth development work. And also then they should be able to connect them, then how it has been impacted on the development or global development. Okay, then you should be able to explain the role of what the religion and also the government and the other organization. Okay, at the same time, you should explain the issues or challenges faced by young people. Okay, we will dig more. In the early years, many young persons were part of what? The labor force. Okay, we discussed that one. Why? The stringent economic condition forced many parents from poor and middle class to seek employment outside. Employment outside. Okay, employment outside. Okay, you see, then they left. What happened after that? They left their children behind, causing for many to withdraw from formal schooling. Okay, here I left one point here, you see. In 2001, the US Congress passed the No Child Left Behind Act. Okay, why? When the parents they moved to the cities or moved out of home in finding what the employment, they didn't have enough time to care their children, which caused what? Many to withdraw from the school, many to withdraw from formal schooling, especially. Okay, that's why they passed an act which is called what the No Child Left Behind Act. Okay, in order to address this issue, some religious and philanthropic organizations established programs. What they did, they organized what the Sunday schools. In addition to that, they focused more on the educational and the social and the recreational activities. Okay, all these things. The youth program was viewed as church program rather than an organized activities. There were not any organization to think about the youth development work, but the church program, the religion, especially the religion, only was the formal institution to work on the youth development work there. Okay, that's why then we are telling here that youth program was viewed as what the more of what the church program rather than an organized activities. Okay, the majority of the churches had programs for young people as a part of their community outreach work. What does it mean, the community outreach work? The community outreach work here means, rather than what? The waiting for them to come to our center, then we go to them and give our services. Okay, then the churches had programs for young people as part of their community outreach work. Community outreach work. Okay, then they went out from the churches and met the young people and did the youth work or did something which were needed for them. Okay, leisure and recreational activities were organized as a way of keeping youth meaningfully occupied. Okay, why they organized the leisure and recreational activities here? To keep the youth meaningfully occupied. Meaningfully occupied. They should be busy in something, isn't it? Okay, otherwise then they will move to the other things. Move to other things, or maybe they will get addicted to the alcohol, okay, and also they may engage in what the deviant behaviors. Okay, in order to reduce that risk factors, they focus more on the leisure and recreational activities. Why? To keep youth, okay, occupied, meaningfully occupied. Okay, in your module, then the events that occurred in England has been given, and also the other global events in youth development work were also uh, uh, given in your module. Please refer to them. Okay, now we will talk about the tradition of youth development work. I have taken another question. Okay, your CBT paper consists of what the 5 questions. Out of 5, then you have to choose, okay, select 2 questions. Okay, each question has the 2 parts. Each question has 2 parts. Okay, one question will focus on one session. Focus on one session, which means I have taken the one question from one session. One session. Okay, then each question has the 2 parts. Okay, here I mentioned one thing, role of what the religion. Then the second part could be what the tradition of youth development work. Okay, youth development work keeps changing due to the global and socio-economic changes. Okay, then the youth development work is not static. Okay, which means then the rigid or unchanging, which is that is dynamic. Okay, we can see then the youth development work keeps changing because of what? The global social and the economic changes. Okay, one of the changes that we mentioned earlier is what? Industrial revolution. Okay, apart from that, we have what the globalization, modernization, okay, and so many other things. Okay, however, many practices still stem from long traditions and past experiences in youth work. Okay, already we have discussed, okay, what happened in the 1980s, isn't it? Not the 18th century and the 19th century, early 19th century, isn't it? Okay, then the same practices or the traditions are practiced by still the youth workers in the modern era. Okay, just we will discuss what are the traditions that we are following, okay, which were practiced by our ancestors. Ancestors means in the previous youth workers. Okay. Okay, these are the 6 main international traditions of youth development work. Okay, I will not discuss this one much. Just you can go through the module and understand. Okay, it won't be too difficult. Okay, the first one, youth work for the development of families and communities. Okay, if you are a youth worker, then you work with young people. At the same time, you should think about the development of their families and the communities where they live in. Okay. Okay, this tradition was followed by, okay, then the early youth workers. Still, we are following or focusing on. The second important tradition here, youth work as social and leisure provision. Leisure provision. Okay, even today, then we can see the youth organizations who regularly organize what? The leisure activities. For example, the musical shows, isn't it? The social gatherings. Social gatherings. They don't do what the classes or something, okay, which were done by the religious organizations. Okay, they won't consider about what? The families and the communities. Okay, they are focused only on uh, providing the facilities to youth to what? Engage in recreational activities. The third important tradition still that we follow, okay, in the youth development work is pastoral work and the out of school education. Pastoral work here means the more about what the religious activities. Out of school education. Out of school education here means maybe what the like Sunday schools, the Ampasala or Ahadiya or something. Okay, evening schools. The fourth one, uniformed and military style youth movements. Youth movements. They are very rigid. Okay, when you get the membership from them, then you have to follow the certain things. For example, the scouts. Okay, even the rehabilitation they follow what the military style, what the youth work, military style youth work. The fifth one, youth work for development. Youth work for, okay, the common development. Okay, youth welfare work. These are the some traditions or the six main international traditions of youth development work. Okay, that we follow even today when we work with work with young people. Okay. Now let me share my second presentation. I okay. Okay, isn't it? Okay. Time 7:08. We have time, isn't it? Anyway, then I'm trying to complete at least three presentations today. Three presentations today. Okay, since we are approaching what? The CBT soon. CBT soon. Okay, this is the third session. Third session. Third session consists of what? The two parts. It contains two parts. Okay, it has two parts. Okay, we will talk about the youth development work as profession. As what? The profession. As profession. What does it mean? Profession. Profession means what? Okay, before we talk about the profession, just we will try to understand the word professionalism. Professionalism. Okay, you see, the professionalism is characterized by a profession or a professional. Professional. Okay, the person who in a profession is called what? The professional or professionals. Okay. Okay, in his profession, he should be or he should follow what? The professionalism. Okay, you see, a profession usually refers to a subset of occupations. Okay, if you take certain occupations where you will find some professional occupations with certain characteristics or attributes. Okay, if you want to climb, then you are a profession. You are in a profession. Okay, you are a professional. Okay, you are practicing this profession. Okay, that means then you should follow what? Certain code of ethics. And also, you should have obtained what? The mandatory training. Okay, the compulsory training. The third important thing here, you should have obtained what? State licensing of practitioners. State licensing of practitioners. For example, okay, can we give medicine to someone without having what? license that is given to the doctors? Cannot, isn't it? Can we practice the counseling? Cannot, isn't it? Okay. What else? There are so many professions, isn't it? So many professions. Okay, if you want to claim that you are a professional, okay, you are practicing certain occupation which comes under what? Profession or profession. Then you should follow what the certain code of ethics, okay, should have undergone with what the mandatory compulsory training. And also you should have obtained what the state licensing of practitioners. Okay, just we are writing what the news, isn't it? And forwarding, they mean what? The social media. Can we do that? Okay, that is the work of journalists, isn't it? We can give our views, no problem, but we are not permitted to write news. Write what? The news. Okay, a professional is also considered to be a person who proficiently uses expert or specialized knowledge, exercises autonomous thought and judgment, and makes a voluntary commitment to a set of principles. Okay, if you claim that you are a professional, okay, then you should be able to contribute, okay, to a set of principles with your knowledge. Okay, you should be expert or specialized in certain knowledge, and also you should be able to exercise autonomous thought and judgment. Okay, autonomous thought and judgment. Okay, anyway, now then it's very clear what is professionalism, isn't it? And also the profession and professional. Okay, similar to this, then we are considering what? Youth work as a profession. Youth work as a profession. Then if you say that you are a youth worker, then you should follow what? The certain code of ethics. Certain code of ethics. And also you should what? You should have followed what? The mandatory training, compulsory training. Okay, let's see then if youth work, when the youth work is considered as a profession in Sri Lanka, definitely we should obtain what? The state licensing. State licensing. Okay, anyway, then the phase two, okay, should have obtain or should be followed by a youth worker. Should be followed by a youth worker. Okay, they should practice certain code of ethics, and also he should have obtained what? The mandatory training. Mandatory training. Okay, if it is considered as a when it is considered as a profession in Sri Lanka, then definitely we should obtain what? The state licensing. Okay, same as what? The medical practitioners. Medical practitioners. Okay, these are the core values of what? The professionalism. Core values of professionalism. Okay, the first important core value here is honesty and integrity. Honesty and integrity. Okay, since now you are in a profession, you should practice what? Honesty and integrity. The second important thing, altruism, which means the benevolence or kindness. Should be a kind person. Okay, the respect. Okay, the respect. You should give respect and take respect. Take respect. The fourth important core value of professionalism here is responsibility and accountability. Okay, you should be responsible for your work. Okay, for what you do. Okay, then you are accountable to your work. Accountable to your work. If you have done any mistakes, you will be questioned. You will be questioned. If you have taken the collective decisions, okay, if someone in your team has done any mistakes, we all have to take the responsibility of that particular mistake. Okay, these are some core values. These are some core values. We cannot point a person who did mistake. Okay, especially in our team. Just we cannot escape from the mistakes. Okay, we should take what the responsibility. Okay, we are accountable. Okay. Okay, compassion and empathy. Compassion and empathy. Okay, you should show what? The compassion. You should practice what? Empathy. Okay, you should be a person who follows what? Empathy. Empathy here means then clearly you should be able to understand the aspirations of young people and commit yourself to fulfill their aspirations and guide them The sixth important core value here is the dedication and self-improvement. Okay, you should dedicate yourself to work in the youth development work. At the same time, we should concentrate more on our self-improvement. We should increase our knowledge. Okay, then we should enhance our skills. Okay, we should develop our attitudes. Okay, please try to read these topics in your module. Okay, what are those topics? Youth development work, professionalism, developing professionalism, how we can develop what our professionalism, resistant to what the youth development work profession, what are the barriers that we have. Okay, what people talk about youth development work here. Okay, whether they are considering the youth development work as a profession or just a work. Okay, these are the things that you will learn under this topic, resistant to a youth development work profession. Advancement of youth development work professionalism. Okay, the one particular thing that I should mention here, then the Open University of Sri Lanka as a bachelor's degree in youth and community development that you are following right now, isn't it? Okay. Then after the completion of this degree, you all will become what? The youth work professionals. Okay, the professional conduct of a youth development worker. Okay, we have given very detailed explanation on these the subtopics. Okay. Anyway, then I have taken one important card. Okay, from this topic, the professional conduct of a youth development worker. Okay, 3.2.4. okay, from your module, professional conduct of a youth development worker. What the Eddington and his colleagues, they say that youth development workers conduct should be guided by ethical principles or code of ethics. Ethical principles or code of ethics. Okay, give me 2 minutes time. Let me quickly drink 1 cup of water. Okay, let's start. Okay, Eddington and his colleagues, okay, they emphasize that the youth development work or workers' conduct, which means their practices, should be guided by ethical principles and code of ethics. Okay, what he tries to say, what they try to say here, or they argue that it is important for youth development workers to understand how their actions and behaviors influence their work with youth. Their work with youth. Okay, when we work with young people or youth, okay, we should understand how our actions and our personal behaviors influence, okay, our work with youth. Our work with youth. Okay, when we work with the young people, at the same time, we should follow what ethical principles and also code of ethics or code of what the ethics. Okay, we should understand ethically what we do, and the consequences of our actions. Since the consequences of our actions and behaviors not only affect ourselves or the young people, but also the youth they or we serve and the communities in which they operate. Simply, what we can say here, when we do something, okay, behave in the society, okay, it will not directly impact on, not only impact on or affect the young people, but also it is gonna impact, okay, uh, on the community where they live in, where they live in. Okay. You see, then the ethical professional approach to youth development work. Youth development work. Okay. Ethical professional approach to youth development work. Okay, I have mentioned few things as a summary. Okay, from the slides that we learned before. The first important thing here is accountability. Accountability. Okay, taking responsibility for his or her actions. His or her here means what? The youth workers. Youth workers. Okay, we should take responsibility for our work. Why? You see, in the previous slide, we learned that uh, the consequences of our consequences of our actions. Our actions and behaviors not only affect themselves, which means ourselves, but also the youth we serve and the communities in which we operate. We operate. Okay, we do certain things. Okay. The second important thing, ethical professional approach to youth development work here is what? The professionalism. Professionalism. We should practice what? The professionalism. The third important thing is what? The confidentiality. Confidentiality. What does it mean? The ability to maintain trust and understand the privacy of youth. Okay, usually we don't practice them, isn't it? Usually we don't practice. When we talk to young people, when they reveal, the certain things or their secrets, usually we will tell that we will not share this one with anyone. But later, sometimes in the we are revealing their secrets. Okay, that we promise that we will keep them confidential, isn't it? Among our friends. Okay, that one we cannot do. That one we cannot do. The confidentiality is very important. By believing in you that they are revealing certain things, isn't it? When we work with the young people, we must understand the privacy of young people, youths, privacy of youth. The fourth important thing here is building trust. Building trust. How we can build trust? Building relationship with youth, colleagues, and the other professionals. If you are a person who is practicing what the youth work profession, you should be able to work with the other professionals. Sometimes you may happen to work with what the medical professionals, counselors, and the youth development officers, development workers, and the other types of professionals. Lastly, the maintaining integrity, sincerity. Why we are doing the youth development work? Not for our benefit, isn't it? Not for our own benefit. This is done the benefit of young people. Then the youth development workers, they should know their own values. Why we are practicing this one. And take a stand for what they believe in and profess their own standards. On standards. Okay, just we are practicing what the youth development work. Okay, by keeping our own values. Okay, we are taking decisions uh, uh, for the betterment of what the young people, for the betterment of young people, not for our own benefits. Okay, not for name or fame. Okay, these are the some important topics that you should learn from your module. Okay, you see youth development work roles and responsibilities. Okay, then we have given what the very detailed explanation on these topics. Youth development work roles and responsibilities. Okay, in the 3.4, we have given what the youth worker roles and responsibilities. Okay, youth worker roles and responsibilities. Some of the roles and responsibilities linked to the profession. Okay, in the 3.4.1, okay, we have written what the detailed explanation on this topic. 3.4.2 talks about what the agency roles and responsibilities. 3.4.3 talks about what the community roles and responsibilities. Community roles and responsibilities. Laptop.
Recording in progress.
Okay, the second part of third session is all about what the youth development work as a profession. Okay, the session 2 again contains the few topics. Youth development work competencies. Here we are going to talk about what the competencies. Core competencies. Okay, and also youth development work entry-level competencies, youth development work knowledge base and professional skills. Okay, let's discuss. Why should we develop competencies? Why should we develop our own competencies? What does it mean? The competencies here means what? Okay, let's see. The professional work is done with okay, the professional work is the
Sir, the sound is not clear. Sir, the sound is not clear. It's echoing.
anyway, then the
Recording in progress.
can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Now we can hear.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me share. Okay, you can see the screen, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, anyway. Here we are going to talk about what the competencies. You see, the professional work is done with youth and their families and the communities in which youth live. In which youth live. Okay, you see, then we are practicing what the youth development work. That profession, that particular profession is done with. It's done with the young people and also with their families and the communities in which the young people live. Young people live in. Okay, you see, then the youth workers function as a team, or youth workers function as a team or as independent worker. As independent worker. Okay, if you are a youth worker, you can practice what the youth work, okay, or youth work profession as an independent worker or as a team. As a team. Okay, to effectively meet the client, okay, youth workers are required to develop essential competencies. Okay, then you are going to work with you are going to work as a team or as independent worker. You are going to work with young people and their families and communities where the young people live in. Okay, in order to effectively do this one or meet your clients, you're going to meet young people and the parents and the community leaders and the other people in the community as well. Okay, then you should have obtained essential competencies in order to meet your clients. In order to meet your clients. The competencies here means the things that you need to know and do. The things that you need to know and do. Why? To give quality services. To give quality services. Okay, if I explain further, competencies include three things here. First one is the knowledge. The second important thing here is what the skills and personal attributes or abilities of youth development worker. Okay, then under the competencies, we are discussing three important elements. The first one, the knowledge that we should have, okay, gained, okay, and also the skills, okay, that we should have developed, okay, and the personal attributes or personal behaviors, attitudes that we should have possessed as a youth workers. Okay, now you can see that, okay, then we have to learn a lot and also we have to develop a lot. We should change a lot in ourselves in order to be or to become a youth worker, Okay, we'll talk about the core competencies here. Okay, by teaching what the core competencies, we are trying to distinguish the youth development work from the other people who provide what the services. Okay, maybe it can be what the social services or the other type of social activities. Okay, we are not just social workers or what the philanthropy workers, or we are not doing the social services that is done by the other people. We are practicing what? Youth development work. Okay, if we want to claim ourselves that we are youth development workers, then we should have what the gain certain or what the basic competencies here or essential competencies. The Academy for Educational Development, okay, identified one of the organization identified The 4 categories of core competencies. 4 categories of core competencies. I will not talk much about this one. Maybe then you can search this article and read about this. Okay, why DW as support for youth, families, and colleagues? Okay, and also we have given the certain explanation or detailed explanation on these topics in your module as well. Okay, the first important competency here is what the youth development as or worker as support for youth, families, and colleagues. Okay, youth development worker as a resource for youth. Okay, then we are here to help young people to help themselves. Okay, youth development worker as a resource to the organization, and youth development worker as a resource to communities. Okay, then this organization has categorized the basic or the competencies based on the following topics. Okay, anyway, then we need abilities to practice in specific settings. Setting here means, okay, the area that we in which we work. Okay, we will talk about later. Okay, core competencies. Here see another scholar has identified core competencies that combine knowledge, skills, and abilities. Okay, anyway, then under the competencies, we can include 3 important things: knowledge, skills, and personal attributes or abilities or traits. For example, okay, if you are a person, or then if you claim that you are a youth worker, then you should have gained the knowledge on what the youth and adult development. The second important knowledge, what is that? Organizational system for youth development. Okay, without having this knowledge, it is very difficult to practice what the youth work. Okay, anyway, then we should learn these things. Okay, already we have learned, or we try to define what the youth and the youth development work. Okay, in addition to that, we should learn organizational system for youth development. Okay, not only that, we have many other things to learn. Okay, youth development worker and entry-level competencies. Okay, we will discuss few competencies that we should possess. The first one applies basic child and adolescent development principles. Okay, then we should have learned what the basic principles, especially the child and the adolescent development principles. Okay, based on this, we will develop well-designed programs and activities. Okay, well-designed programs and activities. Okay, we have one module to introduce how we can develop the instructional designs. Okay, you will learn that one in the level 5. Okay, the second important competency here, develop positive relationship with youth. Okay, what is that? Be an active listener, for example. Be an active listener. Positive relationship with youth. We should be able to build a positive relationship with young people. The third one, age appropriate activities. Okay, we cannot just implement a program that we have designed to children. Okay, then the involves youth in decision making about their learning. Okay, the program that we design for youth, okay, should give them the space to what involve in decision making about their learning. The fourth one, okay, we should honor diversity. Honor diversity. What is that? Respect the youth's culture, religion, home language, and family values. Just we cannot dodge them and implement whatever the things that we bring. Okay, then we can design certain things, but at the same time, we should consider their culture, religion, and home language and family values. We cannot say them, you cannot practice that one. Okay, you should listen to us. Okay, empower youth. This is actually uh, uh, an ultimate goal of youth work, isn't it? Empower youth. Okay, we learned that one in our first session. To develop the ability to speak uh, confidently about their power. Okay, then we should create a space uh, to develop, okay, the ability to speak confidently about their power. Here means the youth's power. Youth's power. That is called youth empowerment. Okay, the sixth one, identify the risk factors. Okay, this is another important competency. Okay, intervene in potentially unsafe situation. Intervene in potentially unsafe situation. Okay, then the risk factors. We have another one, protective factors. We should be able to identify the risk factors. Okay, risk factors that the youth are facing. That youth are facing. For example, if they are living in a place where the drug consumption is very high, that is one of the risk factor. One of the risk factors. Okay, we should reduce. Okay, we should try to reduce, or we should create a space that can protect young people from involving in the drug related activities. Okay, the seventh one, work with families and communities. That means respond in a respectful and timely manner to family questions. Okay, since that we are going to work with young people and also with their families and communities. Okay, then we should respond in a respectful and timely manner to family questions. Sometimes they may ask the questions, isn't it? Okay, carefully we should respond to those questions. They will ask about their children as well. Just we cannot complain them. Yes, we cannot complain them. Carefully, we should guide them. Okay, professionalism. Okay, this one also comes under competencies. Protect the confidentiality in youth programs. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, okay, we should be able to protect the privacy of young people. Privacy of young people. Okay, positive role model. Positive role model. Use appropriate and respectful body language and facial expressions. Okay, you should be a person who show a model to young people. You should be a role model to young people. Okay, just we cannot what they say something that we don't practice, then we don't practice. We should be a person who follow something and tell others. Tell others. The finally support asset building. That means encourage and praise youth who take the initiative and leadership. Okay, these are some entry level competencies that we all should possess when we work with young people, or if we claim that we are youth workers. Okay, now we will talk about the two important things. Okay, we discussed that the competencies. Under the competencies, we can include three important things. The first one, knowledge. The second one, skills. Third one, personal attributes. Okay. Okay, in terms of knowledge, what are the things that we should gain? Okay, we should gain. Professional knowledge of youth development work consists of three elements. The first one, theory. Okay, we should learn certain theories, okay, which have been developed in the field of youth development work. Okay, the second one, professional values. We should learn about what? The professional values. The third one, applied or engineered skills. Okay, under the theory, why we are learning about the theory? Without knowing the theory, then it's very difficult to understand the nature of what? The problem. Nature of human interactions. Okay, which is more complex. Okay, theories have been developed based on the social issues. If you want to clearly understand the social issues, how then the certain issues are arising in the society, then we should learn what the theory is. If you want to what the study about what the social issues, then you should has been developed in that particular field. Without having what, or without knowing the theory, it's very difficult to understand what the social issues. Okay, anyway, then we should learn what the theories, certain theories, okay, that which have been developed in the field of what the youth development work. The second one, professional values. Okay, professional values. Under the professional values, we will talk about what the relationship building, trust, respect, protecting human rights. Okay, then we should learn what the professional values. Under the professional values, we should learn more about the relationship building and trust building. Okay, how to respect others. Okay, how we can protect human rights. What are the human rights that we have? Okay, and how we can protect them. Okay, all these things should be learned by a youth worker. Finally, applied or engineered skills, the abilities needed to practice the profession. We are practicing what? The youth work profession here. Okay, applied or engineered skills here means, okay, something we have learned from the book, but when we go to the field, then we have to practice them in a different manner. Okay, then we should know what are the abilities that we need to practice the profession. For example, how to talk to people, how we can organize an event. Okay, how we can start an event. Okay, how to wind up an event. Okay, how to prepare a budget. Okay, how we can report them. Okay, how to use what the multimedia, how to prepare presentations. Okay, these are some applied and engineered skills. Okay, just see this slide. Here I have what the summarize what the youth work or youth development work is all about. Okay, the first thing that you will what the design activities. Designing activities is the first thing that we do in the youth development work. Okay, designing activities. Under the designing activities, we have certain things to follow. Okay, the second thing, then we have a product with us. Then building relationship with youth. Why? We are going to work with young people here. Okay, we have a product, okay, that has been developed based on the needs of young people here. Before we implement them, okay, before we practice that activity, then we should build relationship with young people or the group that we with whom that we intend to work. The third step, supporting the development of peer relationship. Okay, already we have identified a group. Okay, then we should develop a supporting or develop what the peer relationship among young people. Okay, the next step that we do in the youth development work is involving youth in their own learning, which means we will let them to work on their behalf, Okay, just we don't force them to follow something that we teach, okay, that we instruct. Okay, we will allow them to work, okay, in their own space, in their own learning. Okay, finally, creating an empowering atmosphere. Okay, when they come to the final stage, the young youth or the young people, they should be able to, okay, design something for themselves, take decision, okay, implement for their betterment, Okay, just we don't think to develop them, but we will let them to develop by themselves. Okay, they should take the decision. Okay, they should design what the programs. Okay, they should develop their skills and the abilities. But as a youth workers, we will support them. We will guide them. Okay, when is needed. Okay, youth development work, professional skills. Okay, here we discuss what the knowledge. Now we are talking about the second component of what the competency or okay, youth development work, professional skills. Okay, what are the skills that we should have possessed? Okay, the first one, skills to practice the profession. Okay, if you say that youth work is a profession, then we should have obtained certain skills to practice that. The second important skill that we all should have, that is organizing and delivering a program. Okay, that is not an easy task, isn't it? Okay, we should be able to organize, okay, and deliver a program, okay, in a professional way. The third important thing, interacting with youth. Sometimes even we don't laugh, isn't it? Even we don't laugh. We don't know how to talk to young people. Even we don't know their language. Okay, then we should develop them. The third one, managing a budget and generating funds for a program. That one also another skill that we all should have. Okay, managing a budget, how to prepare a budget, okay, how to manage a budget. Okay, how to generate fund or raise the funds for a program, how we can approach the donors. Okay, these are skills, isn't it? Then the fifth one, supervising other employees. Okay, if we work for an organization, then we should supervise other employees. Okay, marketing experience, how we can promote our programs. Okay, preparing a professional portfolio, what does it mean? After each what the activity or a program, we should prepare a professional portfolio, which means the reflective note. Okay, where we should include the structure of our program and the benefits, outputs, okay, everything. Okay, we need then the youth workers who are good at preparing what the professional portfolio. Okay, we have one module. In that module, then you have to do one field practicum. After the practicum, then you should prepare a professional portfolio. Okay, then we have assigned one prize for that one as well. Okay, those who successfully complete their practicum and write what the very good portfolio and submit. Okay, finally assessing risk and evaluating events. We need people who can do what the research, evaluate events. Okay. Anyway, then you can think about in which way, in which area, then I should what improve my skills. Okay, you can be an expert in certain field. Okay, at the same time, you can improve other skills as well, or skills which are related to other fields as well. For example, okay, if you feel that you should work only on what the budgeting and generating funds, okay, maybe then you can learn more about that. Okay, organizing and delivering a program. Okay, then if you want to expert in, okay, in organizing and delivering a program, just you can learn more about what the event management, marketing experience. Okay, you can learn more about what the digital marketing. Okay, then we have so many avenues to work as a youth work professionals. Okay, the primary skills used by youth development workers. Okay, in the page number 72, we have mentioned, okay, the primary skills, okay, that the youth workers should use. Okay, here we have mentioned what the main and subset of skills. For example, communication is main what the skill. Okay, under that, then we have mentioned that the active listening is one of the skills. Okay, that the youth workers should use or should possess. Okay, use of oral and body language. You can please read them. Okay, and also you can do one of the activities given in the page number 73 and 74. Okay, this is summary. We learn the term professionalism and professional youth work and responsibilities of a youth worker. Finally, we learn what the competencies. Under the competencies, we discuss the knowledge. What are the knowledge that we should gain? Okay, here we discuss 3 important elements. Okay, and also we discuss the skills. Okay, and different 8 skills that we discussed over there. We didn't talk about talk much about what the personal traits. Okay, that is all about our personal attitudes. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we should be a person. We should be people who learn something and practice and inform others. Inform others. We should be role models to young people. Role models to young people. Otherwise, they won't listen to us. They won't listen to us. Okay, easily they will refuse us. Refuse us. Okay, they will talk about us behind, isn't it? Okay, we know him. Okay, he's a person who regularly practice blah blah things, but he is now talking about good things. Okay, likewise. Okay, anyway, the professionalism is very important, and also the professional things that we follow in youth work also important. Okay, finally, I have another presentation. Quickly, maybe we can discuss this one. Okay. Youth work practice. Youth work practice. Okay. Youth work practice. What does it mean? The practice here means what? Okay. Let me quickly discuss. Okay. The content of this session is as follows. The youth work practice, family and youth providing relevant information. Okay, here we will discuss what the key concepts, what the practice, empowerment, and family. And family. Okay, let's see. What is the meaning of practice? Practice here means what you do in a given situation. What you do in a given situation. What you do in a given situation. Okay, it can also mean how you express your ideas, also considered as what the practice. Okay, when you express something, okay, that is considered as your practice. And feelings, okay, and how you see yourself and the world, okay, your worldview, okay, is also considered as your practice or as a practice, Okay, okay, this definition has been taken from Commonwealth Youth Program. Okay, practice refers to, okay, according to what? The previous definition, it refers to the norms in a young person's country, town, village, or family. Okay, the norms that we practice, okay, in our country, or town, village, or in our family, okay, is considered as what? Practice. Considered as practice. It refers to a change in the young person's behavior, beliefs, and cultural symbols. Cultural symbols. Okay, my belief is my practice. My behavior is my practice. My cultural symbols, okay, if I have something, oh, that is my practice. For example, dress code. Okay, okay, I'm not wearing what you wear, isn't it? Okay, the female are not wearing what males are wearing, isn't it? Males wear. Okay, we don't see the dress code or the dresses in the 20th century, or maybe the 2000s, Okay, what the people born in the 90s. For example, women in the past and modern era. Clearly, we can see the differences, isn't it? Okay, that is their practice. That is their practice. Okay, under the practice, then we can summarize certain things here. Okay, the person's behavior, beliefs, and cultural symbols. Okay, for example, the dress code. Dress code. Okay, you see, then day-to-day practices are changing due to what? Political, economic, and social changes. Social changes. When society changes, okay, then our practices also changing. Also changing. Okay, economic and political changes. For example, women's role, marriage patterns, and family system. Okay, women's role. Okay, in early ages, the woman they didn't work in the or they didn't engage in the labor force activities. But nowadays, more and more they are engaging in what the labor force activities, which means they are earning. Okay, they are working for money. They are working for money. Okay, you see, we practice our profession. What profession that we are practicing here? Youth work. Youth work. And society also has its own practice, its own practice in terms of what are norms, culture, and changing behavior. And changing behavior. Okay, therefore, when we practice our profession, we should consider what are the things that are practiced by which are practiced by the community as well and young people as well. Okay, just we cannot what the dodge their practices and practice our profession. Practice our profession. Okay, carefully we should transmit our ideas without damaging their existing practices. Their existing practices. Okay, as a professional youth worker, It is, it is essential to meet youth in their ecological setting, to develop a holistic approach to working with them. Working with them. We will discuss more about the holistic approach in the maybe not the next session, the third, the fourth session, fourth session. Okay, anyway, then we are going to meet young people, okay, in person. Okay, in their ecological setting here means, okay, the place where they live. Place where they live. Okay, we should know the nature of human beings. Okay, when we work with the young people, okay, basically we should know the nature of human beings. For example, as I mentioned earlier, identities are not somehow fixed by nature. Fixed by nature. Each one has different what? The identities. Okay, we discussed that the woman's role, isn't it? Okay, just we cannot say that the woman shouldn't go to work. Okay, they should care their children. Okay, they should cook at home. They should wear certain dresses. Okay, then we should respect their practices. Okay, and their identities. Okay, as a youth worker, you must be alert to society's reality. Okay, how it is changing, and do your best to address professional issues without prejudice. Without prejudice. Okay, we cannot discriminate someone. Okay, we cannot discriminate one society against one. Okay, just we will practice our profession. Okay, to address what the professional issues. Okay, that the society face. Society face or young people face or encounter. Okay, be aware of the cultural and social constructs of your group, Okay, then we discussed that each one has different the cultural practices. Okay, before we go to them, we should know that. Okay, if you are a youth worker who is going to do some activities in the church or the temple or mosque, then you should wear proper dress, isn't it? Okay, that is appropriate or in line with that particular place. Okay, as a professional youth worker, I have here one question, that how to create a sense of inclusiveness when we work with youth. Inclusiveness. Okay. Inclusiveness here means without discriminating. Okay. Without discriminating, how we can include all the people or involve all the young people in our activities. Okay, that is a challenging task. We will discuss the inclusivity or inclusive approach maybe later. Okay. In order to create a sense of inclusiveness, okay, you should be a catalyst for redefining social structure and promoting change. Okay, catalyst here means the change maker. Okay, you will have a community, poor young people. Okay, usually we are going to work with marginal, and also the poor, and also what? Yeah, poor and marginal community. Okay, you help them eliminate material and cultural poverty. Okay, on what purpose that we are working with them? We are going to help them eliminate, okay, wipe out their material and cultural poverty. Okay, why? It may help change the social structure. Okay, when we work with the poor community, okay, poor people or marginal society, okay, then I have given here the one simple example. Okay, just imagine that you are going to work with the young people. Okay, when you work with the poor young people, okay, what you will do, you will help them eliminate the material and cultural poverty. Okay, and what the results you can see, okay, after your work, then it may help, okay, change the social structure, which means then the people without the poverty. Okay, not rich. Okay, at least then uh what to cover their basic needs. Okay, youth work practice, some basics. Okay, you will work with government and religious and humanitarian organizations. Okay, when you work with young people, okay, in order to achieve the target, you have to work with government, religious, and humanitarian organizations. Okay, that is your practice, youth work practice, some basics. What should be our main goal then? Well-being of youth. Okay. Then let's not start our work with any presumption and assumptions. Okay, that is one of the basics of what the youth work practice. We cannot go to the field with any the presumption, assumptions. Just we cannot say that these youth or young people, they won't listen to us. Whatever the things that we teach, they won't listen to us. They won't practice. Okay, it's very difficult to correct them. Okay, with any presumption or assumption, we shouldn't go to work with young people. Let's gain the trust of our client. Okay, without building a trust, it's very difficult to work with young people. Let's have a willingness to work with them. Okay, if you are a person who do not will to work with the young people, it's very difficult to be a youth worker. Okay, you should have a willingness to work with young people. Okay, these are some basics. Okay, if you say that you are practicing what the youth work profession, okay, you have to work with government, religious, and humanitarian organizations. Okay, then we should work for a common goal, which is well-being of youth. Okay, then we shouldn't have any presumption or assumptions. Okay, then we should build a trust, okay, with young people, and also we should have a willingness to work with young people. Okay, the 6 important principles in youth development work and practice, okay, which are positive orientation, support and universality, engagement, empowerment and participation, exploration, experimentation and competence building, safe environment, autonomy, becoming and belonging. Just maybe you can go through your module and learn more about this one. Anyway, then let me discuss few things, okay, which are related to these were the principles. The positive orientation, okay, support and universality. What does it mean? Okay, this principle suggests that the hidden strengths of young people can be brought to the fore. Okay, if they are given the right orientation, okay, then we should give proper place, okay, to young people to showcase their talents. Their talents. Okay, then each young person has some hidden talents, okay, strengths. Okay, in order to showcase